Welcome to the Weekly Mag. Today, a program in our Mediterranean way. We discover Fira Mediterrània with its director Jordi Fosas and awarded dancer and choreographer Sol Picó. Let's learn some amazing facts about space with Sergi Cervera on our Guess What quiz, today with the journalist Barney Griffiths. That will be after having fun with words and facts with Matthew Tree, Màrius Serra and our new reporter Nadja Grabmüller. All this and much more in today's program. Let's get the Weekly Mag started, your show in English, hosted by Marcela Topor.
Hello, here we go again once more with the Weekly Mag. Fun facts, interviews, tips, music, comedy and plenty of sections are waiting for us. So let's get right down to it by introducing the words and facts section with Màrius Serra, Matthew Tree and a new collaborator Nadja Grabmüller. Welcome all.
Hi. Thank you.
Hi. Well, it's a thrill to have such an international team today with us. You already know Matthew Tree. This season he'll bring us stories from history that link Catalonia with other countries in unexpected way. Matthew, for example.
Today we'll be looking at the connection between the American writer Henry Miller, the feminist international writer Anais Nin, the Catalan national poet Jacint Verdaguer and the city of Barcelona. There's connections with all those
sounds
people.
Interesting. Well, and Màrius Serra is also with us. Obviously, he's brought the solution to last week's guess word, his weekly word puzzle. But first, he's going to give us the origins of an expression. Màrius, which one exactly?
Have you ever heard about Spoonerisms?
Spoonerism.
Yeah,
right.
It's a sort of linguistic mistake. For instance, if I try to read Weekly Mag and I say Meekly Gek, that's a Spoonerism. It's quite funny and we'll see some examples.
Right, and last week we met Umberto, a very special American reporter at large around Catalonia. And today it's time for Nadja Grabmüller, a reporter from Austria who's been around the block a couple of times. And she's been living in Barcelona for a year. So Nadja, welcome and tell us what made you stop in Barcelona.
Well, I'm originally from Vienna and I've lived in a lot of places. I've lived in New York, in Australia, in China and in the United Arab Emirates for about 9 years. And then I decided to travel the world. I've done that for 4 years. And at some point I had the idea that I wanted to study art. And so I was Googling art schools and one of the first hits I got was Barcelona. And I liked the school, I applied, I got in and a week later I was here.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. So what did you ask people about in your first street survey for us?
Well, I was asking them about hiccups and if they've ever been in any embarrassing situations and what they do to stop them.
Mm-hmm. That's original. Are Catalans original when it comes to getting rid of hiccups?
Quite, but you'll see that in the video.
Faster, come on.
Yes.
Did you like it?
Well, we look forward to the video. In the meantime, let's discover how Henry Miller, Anais Nin and Jacint Verdaguer are related. Matthew.
Okay, well first, better explain who they are. Henry Miller was an American writer. He forms part of the canon. If you study American literature, it's obligatory to read Henry Miller.
That's right.
His best books were written in the 30s and 40s, but were banned for 32 years. They weren't published legally until 1962 in English because of the sexual content. And Anais Nin was possibly one of the first feminist writers, a proto-feminist writer, if you like, who wrote a huge diary. It's about 200 volumes long, as well as works of erotica and several different novels. Now, they had a secret affair together, the two of them, in France, which lasted for 10 years. It was kept secret because Anais Nin was married. She didn't want the information to come out until her husband had died. Now, Nin was, as her surname suggests, was of Catalan origin, but she lived in Cuba with her father, who was a well-known international composer and musician, Joaquim Nin, and so they spoke Spanish to each other. She came to Barcelona when she was 11, 12, learned Catalan in Barcelona, and her father was also a personal friend of Jacint Verdaguer, the Catalan national poet. And in the correspondence between Anais Nin and Henry Miller, she actually talks to Henry Miller about something that Jacint Verdaguer told her father. She goes, Jacint Verdaguer, a great Catalonian poet, said to father, who was young and anxious, "Confusion is a sign of vast embracing. Don't be anxious. First take in, understand, love everything. It's good." As far as I know, that's the only reference of Jacint Verdaguer being quoted in English. Anyway, Miller wrote his best books, as I said, in that period, the 30s. The most famous one is called Tropic of Cancer. One of them, it's an autobiographical book. Most of his books are. One of the main characters in the book is called Carl. Carl in real life was called Alfred Perlez, and Alfred Perlez was a very good friend of Miller's. When the Second World War came along, Miller went back to America, Perlez went to England. They didn't see each other for 15 years, and then finally in 1954, they got together, and they got together in the city of Barcelona.
Wow.
And Henry Miller wrote a little booklet about this meeting in Barcelona. This is a limited edition of 500 copies. It's worth quite a lot of money. Miller, by the way, was also a friend of Joan Miró, and in 1970, Joan Miró did we've got it here in front of us, did the original drawings for Miller's only work of fiction, which is called The Smile at the Foot of the Ladder, a second translation of which has just been done by Màrius here, by complete coincidence.
In Lliure Theatre last season.
And it was last season. It was performed in the theatre. And finally, the last connection is that Miller's translator into Catalan was a man called Jordi Fosas, a very nice man who left us quite a few years ago now. And he was the first person to publish one of Miller's banned books. After Franco's death, he published Black Spring in Catalan. It was the very first one of Miller's prohibited books, banned books, to appear in the whole of Spain. I don't have that book, but I do have another book translated by Jordi Fosas. It's actually dedicated to Henry Miller, because Henry Miller had a copy of this book for many years until a friend of mine bought it for me in the Henry Miller Center in California. And to finish it all off, finally, in 2013, a correspondence was published between myself and Jordi Fosas, in which we talk a great deal about Henry Miller. So there's all kinds of connections there.
I'm totally impressed, I must say. So, Màrius and Nadja, did you know any of these stories?
No.
The only one maybe I knew, and maybe some people can know, is the relationship between Nin, because Lluís Juste de Nin,
Exactly.
which is a quite famous, I don't know, caricaturist?
Comic artist.
Comic artist, I would say, is a descendant of Anais Nin.
Okay, yes, exactly. And in fact, his first comic was the history of the Nin family, including the relationship of Anais Nin and Henry Miller. I've been looking for this book for months. I wanted to bring it onto the program, but I found out that even he doesn't have a copy. It's not available.
Matthew, Anais Nin is a fascinating figure for me, very interesting writer. When did she actually start writing her biography? She was very young, I think. Right?
She was a child.
Is it possible she was like 12?
Yeah. Maybe even a little bit younger, maybe 9 or 10. And she wrote the first volumes in French, because she was living in France at the time. And then she wrote all the rest of the diary in English. And there were whole sections of the diary which weren't published until the death of her husband, because they reveal the affair between her and Henry Miller. And in fact, the affair between her and about 55 other men. She had
apart from Miller.
Apart from Miller, she had a lot of lovers.
Wow, interesting. I'm really interested in all three characters, but especially in Anais Nin. I feel like I want to read more about her.
Do you love performing arts? We discovered Fira Mediterrània de Manresa with its director Jordi Fosas and the famous dancer and choreographer Sol Picó. Don't miss it!
Well, and now it's time to go out in the streets with our brand new reporter Nadja Grabmüller, who's been asking around about hiccups. So, Nadja, over to you.
Well, do you guys suffer from hiccups a lot?
Sometimes.
Yeah, I was afraid you'd ask that. Really,
Not much, but sometimes.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Why are you afraid, Matthew?
Well, because it's usually after drinking cava that I get the hiccups. But also they make me very angry when I get hiccups. I
It's
really
quite
don't like
annoying.
having
It's
hiccups.
annoying, it's annoying.
annoying.
Right.
really.
Well, it's not something we usually talk about a lot, hiccups, right?
Well, yeah, I don't know why though, because it's just involuntary contractions of the diaphragm, nothing to be afraid of. And I've come across quite some interesting solutions on how to stop them. But
Okay.
don't worry, I will show you the ultimate solution at the end of the video.
All right.
wow.
Well, let's check it out.
Hiccups. We've all had them at one point or another. They're funny for the first 2 seconds, but really annoying for the rest of the time. Across different cultures, superstition has it that hiccups could occur due to different reasons. All the way from somebody talking badly behind your back, you wouldn't do that, right? Or your true love thinking about you, all the way to demonic possession. But let's see what the people here think about hiccups, why they occur, and how they stop them. Have you ever had any situation, where it was really inconvenient to have hiccups?
One of my first meetings in my job, really nervous and really shaking, and I start like this, drinking water, and I don't know what happened, but I felt like I drink too fast, I think, or something like that. I was like, and I couldn't stop, and people people around you was like looking at you, everyone in silence, and I was, and you cannot do anything. It's like
Are you still working in that company?
no, they fired me. No, I'm joking. Yeah, I'm still working.
I was in an exam, an official exam, and everybody was silent, and suddenly I started to pick up.
How long did that last?
I don't know, like for 10 minutes. I was so red.
My God, I've never danced before on stage. I danced with hiccups and it was like worst experience ever.
Hiccups, no, but another history, like with a fart.
Do you think that hiccups and farts are connected?
Maybe because in our body we have air and then come out for here or from there.
That makes actually sense, yeah. Maybe you're onto something. Do you know any strange or fun ways to stop hiccups?
One actually would be take me out for dinner and I'll show you.
That doesn't stop any hiccups.
It will with you.
I don't have any.
People say you have to drink water like backwards.
I stop breathing, like
I know that if, for example, someone scares you,
Yes,
Faster, come on.
When I got hiccups, my mother says to me, if you do it again, I will give to you 20 euros. So I stopped immediately.
You never managed to get any money at all?
No, never. I stopped. This is the technique.
Have you ever used this on your boyfriend?
No.
Why not?
My friend is different.
You choke him?
Yes.
Did you like it?
no.
What about you? Did you like it?
Yes, a lot.
So we've learned a lot of different ways on how to stop hiccups. But since I'm Austrian, I like efficiency, and all those methods are just way too complicated and require props or people. It can be so much more simple. All you have to do is hold your breath and swallow the air. That's it. You're welcome, Catalans.
Well, I never considered choking as a way to stop a hiccup. Of course, if you choke someone long enough, you can stop their hiccups along with their breathing and everything else too. Màrius and Matthew, what do you normally do in order to get rid of hiccups?
Well, I try not to drink anything at all, first of all. Not even backwards, because it doesn't go well for me. But sometimes they make you boo, and that's the end, absolutely.
Really?
Yeah, like boo.
That presupposes
You
there's
mean like-
somebody who's going to say boo to you.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I tell you, please boomy, and then you do.
Okay.
That's it. Easy.
Okay. I use a combination of your recommendation, which is breathing in and then swallowing the air. And just to make sure, I then drink about 1 litre of water.
Why do you do that?
1 litre of water, but in very long, and I find that works very well. Swallowing large quantities of water, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that weird? I mean,
Quite weird.
Well,
I remember
That's a lot of
a song by Pink Floyd, which is called Body Sounds, and they've got all these sort of sounds, like hiccups and farting and all that, with a very nice guitar. Body Sounds.
Okay.
I don't know that one.
We'll check it out.
Really nice.
Mm? Well, what about your own solution, Nadia? Can you expand on it a little bit?
well, I mean, I came upon it because I had a really bad case of the hiccups and there was no water around. So I was just thinking, what else can I swallow other than water or my own spit? That didn't seem that, good of an option to me. So I thought, okay, I could just inhale, hold the breath and swallow the air, and it worked. So I use it all the time.
And from all the solutions that people suggested to you in the video, which one did you like best?
Well, I'm actually curious about the drinking water upside down, because I think logistically it seems a little bit complicated. And I've actually had hiccups after filming this segment, but unfortunately they were gone within seconds. So by the time I was in the kitchen ready with my glass of water, they were gone.
And what do people usually do in Austria in order to get rid of hiccups?
I'm not sure that we do anything specific, but
Or
it's more like
different,
we have a
than here?
belief about hiccups. So we believe that if you have hiccups, it means someone is thinking about you.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, right.
That's what we say. So, oh, it's nice, someone's thinking about you.
So you know what they say here in Catalonia? Especially if the person who has the hiccups is a small child, they say that he or she is growing.
Well,
I guess
really?
every country has their
I
own,
didn't know that one either.
superstitions related to that.
Had to
well,
be taller, in fact.
well, Màrius, now it's time you tell us about, what was that word again?
Spoonerisms.
Spoonerisms.
Yeah, coming from a man called Spooner, of course. But they are
Not spoon.
sort of mistakes, errors. Yeah.
All right, that sounds interesting, but that will be after this short language tip.
Hi. Goodbye is one of the first words that English students tend to learn. But did you know that it's actually one of the least common used words? In fact, English speakers hardly ever say the word goodbye. We tend to opt for more common phrases such as simply bye or see you. For example, bye Tim, see you soon. If you want something warmer, you could go for take care. Oh, we've had a great time here, take care. If you really want to sound like a native speaker, you can tell your friends that you're actually leaving. For example, oh, okay, I must be going. I'm off. Speaking of which, I better be going. I'm off. See you.
Okay, so let's go on and learn about fascinating stories about English words and phrases with Màrius Serra. Màrius, what about spoonerisms then?
Yeah, these spoonerisms are quite famous in a scholar world. I said to you at the beginning, weekly Mac coming to meekly gag. That's a mistake, an error, but that's a spoonerism, in fact.
And it happens sometimes, right?
Here it
does
happens.
happen, yeah.
Okay, I have just brought one book. This Tony Hogarth's, which is the Oxford Guide to Word Games, documents the initial spoonerisms and from the character William Spooner, is William Archibald Spooner. He was a warden in Oxford. He went with Queen Victoria, the big queen, and he started to introduce her in a way that he wanted to say, our dear old queen. But in fact, he said, our queer old dean. And everybody started laughing, and he has been quite popular because of these sort of mistakes. At the same
Maybe
day,
he got nervous, right?
yeah, but it was quite frequently that he went nervous when he was speaking publicly. Because that same day, as Tony Yogurts says as well, he went on and said, "I have in my bosom a half-warmed fish." Everybody thought, but this is cooking, he is going to cook or something. But well, in fact, he wanted to say, "I have in my bosom a half-formed wish." But then,
Quite different.
yeah, quite different, quite more, correct. So it started to be very popular among all students. And Tony Yogurts has in the book some authentic Spoonerisms that I have to read carefully, because he said, "Fighting a liar," and he
Lighting
said,
a fire.
"Lighting a fire."
Yeah.
Well done, Matthew.
Yeah, it's like a song.
Yeah.
You can fight a liar, right? Not light a fire. Or cattle, ships, and bruisers instead of
Battleships and cruisers?
battleships and
Wow,
cruisers.
Matthew, I'm
It's very good in Spoonerisms.
Yeah, we used to do this at school, yeah.
Well, that's maybe they are known. I don't know if they were popular among the English students, these Spoonerisms.
Yeah, we would invent them, as I remember it.
But you invent new ones.
Yeah, we would invent new ones.
I don't know if in Austria, this
no.
happens as well.
Well, I mean, the closest I've ever come to having one of those myself was in English, because I mean, I've lived abroad since 2006, so I would speak English all of the time. And at the time I was in Dubai and I was driving my car and I had my friend in the car. And I don't know if you've been to Dubai, but they're quite aggressive drivers. So it's really scary at times. And at that time it was really bad, actually. So I was just making a comment. I wanted to say, look at that road rage. And instead I said, look at that rage roid.
Rage roid. It's quite usual when they are involuntary. People is inventing all the time. At a wedding, instead of saying this is customary to kiss the bride, someone says, it is customary to cuss the bride, which doesn't...
To swear at the bride, yeah.
Instead of go and take a shower, go
and shake a tower?
A tower. That's quite
funny.
terrorist, in fact.
Yeah.
Okay, so have you ever made any Spoonerisms yourselves?
Well, there is one which I'm not going to say what the Spoonerism is because it's obscene, but it was one that was very popular when we were kids. And the heavy metal band Metallica did a concert film in 1998, and they called the whole film Cunning Stunts. A cunning stunt is some trick that you do quite well, that's quite intelligent and that comes out well. I'll leave you and the viewers to do to spoonerize it.
But don't put in the subtitles.
Don't put it on the screen.
Please
no.
don't put it on the screen.
No.
Right.
Well, now Màrius, it's time for you to give us the solution to last week's guess word.
Yeah, it was just a 6-letter word. And the enigma was stress on pronunciation. 6 letters. Stress on pronunciation. It's not an Spoonerism, but it's a double sense. This sort of double sense enigma. The answer was accent. Because
I was going to say that.
I
never get these. I'm useless at these word games.
Because an accent is a stress as well, a stress in a syllable, but then your accent is your pronunciation. My accent is from Vilanova i la Geltrú, my English accent, right? So yours is from London, and yours from Austria.
Okay, I'm sure the next one will be more difficult.
It is longer. Maybe not so difficult, but if you know, you can't say now because it's for next week, right? This is firm belief in someone's guiltiness. 10 letters. A firm belief into someone's guiltiness. 10 letters.
Okay, firm belief in someone's guiltiness. You can be the first to crack the guess word and post your answer on our profile on the social media platforms. Well, thank you, Matthew, Màrius, and Nadia. Until next time. Okay, let's take a short break now. We'll be back in 3 minutes with a chat with the dancer and choreographer Sol Picó and the director of Fira Mediterrània, Jordi Fosas. Stay tuned. Fira Mediterrània de Manresa is back these days with visual art, storytelling, circus, theatre, dance, music, exhibitions, and so much more. To know more about it, we are going to talk with its director and also with one of the most accomplished Celtic dancers and choreographers. Pay attention to our glossary first.
The aim of today's interview is to discover the ins and outs of Fira Mediterrània. The ins and outs are all the details and facts about something, either a situation or system. Fira Mediterrània is rooted in Mediterranean tradition. If you say that one thing is rooted in another, you mean that it is strongly influenced by or it has developed from it. Another expression, on the table. When you put something on the table, you present it for it to be discussed, just like gender issues on the Fira this year. And we could not finish today's glossary without a folkloric figure, the Sackman. The Sackman is a mythical creature used by adults to frighten children into good behavior. It is portrayed as a man with a sack on his back who carries naughty children away.
And since Thursday, Fira Mediterrània de Manresa is celebrating its 22nd edition with popular culture and world music and folk rooted in the Mediterranean tradition. Adults and families can see shows in different formats, in venues or in the street. Let's discover the ins and outs of this festival with its director, Jordi Fosas, and also Sol Picó, the dancer and choreographer who has created this year's opening show. Jordi and Sol, welcome.
Hello.
Well, first of all, let's start with a probably simple or obvious question, but for all those who don't know Fira Mediterrània, what is it and what is it so special?
Fira Mediterrània is a performing arts and music fair rooted in traditional culture, in roots. So we are a market of this kind of project that take non-material heritage, that take traditional culture, popular culture, to create new projects. We are one of the 6 strategic markets of performing arts and music from the government of Catalonia, and our aim is to generate market for this kind of projects. I like to explain that in Fira Mediterrània we work and you can see the 360 degrees of our route. The beginning, the first steps, the first degrees about non-material heritage. The next degrees is about our non-profit organization, our traditional cultural associations that take this non-material heritage to connect with our society. And the last degrees is about our professional artists that take this non-material heritage, that take this traditional culture of this kind of associations and create a contemporary artistic project. No, I think that our main focus is Fira Mediterrània is this exchange, this interaction of this all this circle of the roots.
Sounds really amazing, Jordi. This is the first year you are involved in the Fira as its director. Yes. So tell us, what is it special about this year?
It's a little crazy this year because it's my first fair. So I started on March, so 6 months ago. So it's a short time to prepare a fair. So
such a festival, yeah.
It's a little crazy for this short time, but I'm happy to do it, of course, and with responsibility, of do.
For sure, what we do know is that one of the most special things about this year's Fira Mediterrània is the participation of Sol Picó. Like we said before, Sol is inaugurating the festival with a very interesting show. Sol, isn't that right?
Yeah. The show is Animal de Sèquia. And it was a proposal from Generalitat Valenciana to show the traditions, the folk from there, from Generalitat. And the special thing in this show is that there are 30 musicians alive and 10 dancers. And the special thing is that the musicians not only play the instruments, if not, they dance too with us. And then we are 40 people on the stage dancing and playing.
Amazing.
And it's really a big one.
How would you describe the show? What is it about?
I have studied a lot of the folk.
It does look amazing. You can see some images on the screen at the moment. Like you said, indeed, lots of artists
it will
on
be,
the
for
stage.
instance, Mascletà, Valenciana.
Okay. Okay, so what is it about in general terms?
Then just this take some traditions that I have seen, I have feel that is the most important, or he has something special for me. And then I mixture all of these traditions to show the especially Valencian people. Is that I like it. Then you can see Mascletà Valenciana with fire. You can see the band musicians because it's very important in Valencia.
Okay. Tell us, Jordi, why did you choose Sol for the opening show?
Two main reasons. One, we want that artists like Sol Picó, and he usually don't work with traditional culture, of popular culture, have a new look to this traditional culture. No? We want that this kind of artists have a new point of view to traditional culture. So for us it's important too, and it's one of the keys of Fira for the next years. And another important thing is this mix, this fusion between the professional artist and the non-professional artist, this, with the bands, for example. No? This work, because the 30 musicians that take part in the show, I think are not professional artists. They take part in different bandas from Valencia. So for us it's too important, it's this interaction between contemporary artists and traditional artists, non-professional artists, to open the mind and mix with professional artists. For these two reasons, I think it's an special line because it's an excellent project.
Which reinterprets traditional Valencian folk culture. How important is tradition today, nowadays, in all these times of globalization?
I think it's important nowadays because with this globalization, I think it's an opportunity to keep our identity, to love the difference between the persons. No, our identity is that, and I think it's important.
In this year's festival, you also deal with gender issues. Okay, such as women and culture policies. Tell me more about it.
This year we talk about questions of gender because it's on the table nowadays, so it's important that with our traditional culture talk about this, and we do a professional meetings talking about this question. And
you've got actually 500 professionals coming to the festival?
No, we have 1,000 professionals coming to our, and we have 500 meetings.
All right, 500
with
meetings.
artists and directors, for example, to try to generate market between them.
That's an excellent idea. Well, so let me ask you about this documentary that actually 2 days ago it premiered at the Filmoteca de Catalunya, and it's about yourself. It's called From Knee to Heart, amb el cor al genoll, directed by Susana Barranco and supported by Apunt Media and TV3. Let's have a look.
Pues avui primer tinc que fer una mica l'entrenament, el còmpex i la bici, i després tinc que fer la classe de clàssic, que faré només la barra perquè el centre encara no m'atreveixo del tot. Té un pelet pinçaet el menís, no sé per què. I tinc que fer un assaig també amb el Carlos, sobretot que es porti bé. Yuji, pórtate bien, ¿eh? Va, ya estamos.
Well, this documentary, it's a premiere here in Catalonia, but it was already shown in New York, San Francisco, and Varsovia. It was very well received by critics and audience. So what is it, how do you feel about it?
It's a surprise for me to receive like this, because it was an idea about Susanna. I'm going to give a documentary about you. I tell her, okay, let's go. But we think it was for us, because she's a friend of mine, or sons are friends, and then just it was as a joke, almost. And then really she has done a very nice work. For me, it's a little bit strange way to see in a bigger screen.
To see yourself,
doing
right?
things that
in a documentary.
I think people it's not necessary to see.
So it's basically your routine, your creation process, no? Actually, your company, we need to mention the fact that your company started more than 20 years ago, which is a long time.
25 years.
25 years, yeah. Wow, that's
the anniversary.
That's a lot, and you've got a lot of shows on tour, actually.
Yeah.
5 or 6, if I'm not mistaken?
5 or 6, yeah. I have a duo with a pianist. I have a show with men, talking about masculinity. I have Animal de Sequia, this one with the musicians. I have a solo. I go tomorrow to do it. And I have another, a big one on the street about the migration.
It's great.
A lot of,
sounds good. Sounds good. Well, pay attention. You can watch the documentary from the 8th to the 14th of November at Texas Cinemas in Barcelona. From Knee to Heart, directed by Susana Barranco and supported by Apun Media and TV3. And before we continue, let me ask you, Jordi, about the main highlights for this year's festival.
Yeah, for this year we have 3 keys of the program. One key is the different point of view that contemporary artists or professional artists that don't work usually with traditional culture have to this traditional culture, like Sol Picó, Roberto Olivan, Ubesas, Llibert Fortuny, Alessandro Sciaroni, and several professional artists that have this new point of view to traditional culture. A second key is the young artist. I think that from Fira Mediterrània must help them to create their first works. So it's important, artists like Tartarelena, Trio Marala, Màrius Serra, Paul Jiménez, and so on. And the 3 key is that this root, this traditional culture that can speak to us in a present tense, and this year about questions of gender. For example, Alessandro Sciaroni, Paul Jiménez, Laia Santanac, then they perform to talk about these things.
So many names, so many interesting names. Well, I'm sure we've learned so many new things about contemporary dance and traditional culture with Sol Picó and Jordi Fosas. Now, before continuing, let's add some humor with our stand-up comedians.
For years, I thought my dad was a schizophrenic. And then I found out the doctor who diagnosed him was just some voice he heard in his head.
Fira Mediterrània finds inspiration in folk culture. And since traditions never cease to amaze us, we have invited our collaborator Joan Cama to take a look at some European folk culture examples that you probably didn't know about. So Joan is here with us to share with us some really amazing traditions in Europe.
Yeah, sure, because I really love traditional culture. You know, I really enjoy dancing sardanes or singing, well, not singing, but listening to habaneres by this.
Singing too.
I try to sing, but I'm not really good at it. So we have some beautiful aspects of our traditional culture, but we also have some weird things that we should talk about, which are hard to explain. like, how would you explain the caga-tío to an American, right? It would be difficult. So
I
today
think
brought
Viggo
you-
Mortensen tried to explain this tradition.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he talked.
Yeah.
He talked about that. Yeah,
In
he
a
did.
show. in
And
the
so today I
States.
brought you some weird things, weird traditions or festivals or dances from around the globe, just in case you didn't know about it, okay? First of all, I want to know if you so enjoy to dance with objects on stage.
I love to dance with the objects, yes.
Do you?
Mhm.
Have
I
you
like
ever
very much.
danced with flags?
No, no flags.
There's a country in Europe where dancing with flags is a very loved tradition. Can you guess which country is dancing with flags?
Flag
It's-
throwing.
It's flag throwing. It's about flag throwing, and it is very popular in Italy, in Tuscany.
Yeah, es verdad.
Flag throwing or flag...
Sbandiatori, I think.
Sbandieratori.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's not an easy
Sbandieratori.
name, right, to say. Yeah,
Flags.
it's young people dressed in medieval costumes, as you can see. They usually perform in historical costume festivals, and they usually are accompanied by tamburi, which are the drummers, and trombettieri, which are the trumpeters. Okay. By the way, if you want to see them, you don't have to go to Italy. We have sbandiatori in Tortosa. I didn't know
Really?
that. Yeah, we have sbandiatori very close. Yeah, we do. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, from medieval times to more modern times, because if in medieval times people used to throw flags up in the air, nowadays we throw different things. Take a look. We throw tomatoes. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, of course.
We all know about the tomatina. It's pretty original, but it's not unique. Because in Poland they have a Monday where they throw something else. Okay, they do a water bottle. It's called the Zmigus Dingus. It's always celebrated on Monday, so I guess it's the funniest Monday of the year. And also in Hungary, they have a similar custom, okay, which is called Loxolkodas. Names are not easy today, okay? And Loxolkodas is about a perfume bottle. I hope it's not a
Perfume
cheap
bottle?
Perfume. Yeah, instead of water, perfume.
Perfume.
Did you
Wow.
know that?
That's more expensive.
If it's more expensive, but if it's a good perfume,
Yeah, if it's a good perfume, but it's not.
you don't really have to choose a cheap one. Let's move on from the funniest Monday in Poland to a different tradition, okay? Were you afraid of the sack man when you were younger?
Yes.
Yes, of
Were you-
course.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Everybody, I guess.
I used to think that the sack man was Mr. Bean. I was afraid of Mr. Bean.
Mr. Bean?
I don't know, it's another story. Okay, so the sack man is not from here, he's not from Catalonia. He's actually from Central Europe, okay? And it's called Krampus.
Krampus.
It's not a man, it's kind of a monster, which is described as half goat and half demon, okay? And if you're good, then Santa will bring you some presents. If you have a bad behavior, then Krampus will take you with his sack.
With him.
Yeah. It looks like that, exactly. Yeah, it's pretty scary, okay? Now, one last tradition, if you want to. It's not so traditional, I guess, because it doesn't really have a traditional background, okay? But I want to know if you guys play any musical instrument.
No, I love to play trompeta, but I don't play.
No, I don't play it.
You don't?
Yeah.
You don't play
No.
any instrument?
No.
Okay. Then, but what if I ask you to play the guitar? How do you play the guitar?
How?
Like how? Can you do the movement? Okay, it's something like this, right?
Something.
Then you can go to Finland, okay, in August, because there's a very funny or special festival, which is the World Air Guitar Championship.
Air guitar.
Air guitar.
Air guitar, yeah. Did you know
so
about
you can
air guitar?
go, right?
There's a worldwide competition, and its final takes place in Finland, more concretely in Oulu. Sorry, it's Oulu. Yeah,
Okay.
something like that in Finland, Oulu.
Oulu.
I've never been there, and yeah, you can try your best. I don't know, which song would you play? and play your non-existent instrument in front of a 3,000 audience.
When is that? When is that?
In August.
In August.
So we still have 1 year more or less to
Yeah.
practice.
To practice. Have time to practice.
Next year we can.
I don't know. We can make an air guitar group or something if you want to.
We can do it. Fun.
I've never been there, so. One last question. We've talked about traditions from all around the world. What about our traditions? Which is your favorite Catalan tradition?
My favorite, I think, it's the night of San Juan, the fire of San Juan. I think it's a collective celebration to enjoy the next summer, no? To prepare the summer. So I think it's for this reason, for the celebrate around the fire, around several traditions this night. I think it's a special one.
Yeah, it's a great one.
For me, I'm sorry, but I'm not from Barcelona, I'm from Alcoi, and my favorite tradition is Moros y Cristianos from Alcoi, but it's a very special thing and very funny and very strong thing.
We have Moros y Cristians in Lleida as well.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Well, Joan, thanks. Thanks so much. We've learned that folk culture is an amazing source of inspiration for all kinds of arts, and not only arts. Remember that you still have time to catch some shows in Manresa before the Fira Mediterrània ends tomorrow. And we'd like Jordi and Sol to answer a last question, which belongs to what we've called our question chain. Okay? Question chain. It's a tricky question from our last week's guest. In this case, the chef of Disfrutar restaurant, Eduard Chatruc. Here it is.
Hello, I'm Eduard, chef of Disfrutar Barcelona, and I want to ask to Sol and Jordi, what is your favorite dish and what is the dish that you hate most?
So, who goes first?
La paella. I love paella. And I hate the, how I can say, chucrut.
Chucrut.
Bueno,
chucrut cabbage,
yeah,
right? Fermented cabbage.
Yeah, I hate it because I like almost everything.
Okay,
and
great.
If you were talking about traditional culture, so my favorite plate is the bread with tomato, and I think it's excellent to combine with several products, so it's my favorite one.
Yeah, I think it's one of the greatest Catalan traditions,
Yeah.
Palm, tomato bread and tomato. Well, thank you so much, Jordi and Sol, for coming today to our show, and have a nice ending at Fira Mediterrània. Until tomorrow, you still have time to see lots of different activities of Fira Mediterrània de Manresa. Thank you again, and thank you, Joan. Until next time. Well, today in One of Us section, we are meeting Lydia Schartenberg, a volunteer at the Society for the Protection of Animals in Mataró. A few years ago, Lydia visited one of their shelters, saw the work they were doing, and she soon became one of its members. Check it out.
My name is Lydia. I'm from New York. I came to SPAM in 2011. I always thought that the shelters were a place where I would die if I go to a shelter and see the dogs, and so I never wanted to go. But I met somebody from SPAM. I went to the SPAM. I met the president, Sylvia, and I adopted the dog that needed the most of care and love and everything. The first thing I have in my head is a bunch of little dogs coming up to me and just, you know, they all wanted to be adopted. And there was one behind, and she turned around and she did something. I don't know what she did. And I took her home. She was skinny, really skinny. And she was my princess. From that moment on, I only live for this. Well, it's a foundation, Fundación Daina, and the Protectora Mataró, which has, right now, at this moment, we have 3 different shelters. In Badalona, in La Armella, in Mataró, and the office is here in Mataró, and also our own veterinary service downstairs. Yeah. I started working in Barcelona for the administration department, and I had contact with the members of the association and the sponsors. I started working in 2011. From home, I've started coming twice a week, 3 times a week, in the train, and I finally said, what I'm doing here, I'm going to Mataró, and I work in Mataró. The veterinarians attend all the animals of the 3 centers, all the animals that have been picked up every day. I've cried so many times. You can't imagine. I mean, you see them die. You see them fight for trying to live, and then so you have to take the good things and the bad. This I've only learned to take it, being here every day. And there are moments where you think, I go home, but no, I can't. Every day, you have something. For instance, maybe a dog or a cat that they're in the shelter for 6 years, 7 years, and then a family comes, gets in love with them, and they adopt, and it's something wonderful. You can't be a volunteer for something if you don't really feel it. You have to feel that. You can't go one day and then forget about it. I love it. I love it. The one thing which is very important is that at my age, it's important to be surrounded by young people that make you feel like if you were younger.
Hi. Even in formal situations, English speakers don't tend to use the word goodbye. But don't worry, we've got a lot of alternatives. For example, it was nice to see you. It was nice to see you suggests you're leaving without having to say goodbye. Oh, it was nice to see you, Tim. We can also say, it was nice to meet you when we've just been introduced. Oh, it was nice to meet you, Mr. Obama. We can also use the gerund in this situation. It was nice meeting you, or it was nice seeing you. When we want to say goodbye, but we want to see that person again in the future, we can use the phrase, stay in touch. It was nice to meet you, stay in touch. There are a lot of phrases to say goodbye, so try learning them all. Thanks very much. See you later.
Welcome back. We continue with Love in Translation and International Couples. And today we have Maria from Manresa and Marc-Antoine from Quebec. They met in Italy, lived in the United States, also in Canada, and now they set up in Catalonia with their 2 twins. Let's check out their love story.
Hello, my name is Maria and I'm from Manresa.
Hello, my name is Marc-Antoine. I'm from Montreal, Canada.
and we've been together for
11 years.
11 years.
This summer.
It was my first time in Europe, saying I landed in Italy.
We were studying a Commedia dell'arte course, which is, an acting technique.
So the first morning, the teacher is like, in my class, no one should arrive late, blah, 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 blah. 10 minutes after, we hear, it was her. She was like 10 minutes late. The teacher said, Senora, in my school, you don't arrive late, blah, 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 blah. Next time you wait outside. And she responded to him, hey, dude, it's the first time I'm in your city. I got lost. So what do you want to do with this? And then I fell in love right away. Every morning, I was giving her a flower, and I was saying, Buongiorno, principessa.
That's
every morning for 2 months.
It was nice. I mean, I didn't like him at first, but, that got me the little flower every morning. Yeah.
That tendency to be late everywhere all the time, it's sort of it's a funny thing. Talking about the time, the way you guys say the time, it's gonna be 3/4 de no sé qué. It's weird. I adopted the cagatillo. Every year, I take my girls and we feed the tío, we give them a lot of food. And then we hit the tío with the stick, and the tío poop a lot of little gift, and this is totally adopted.
The schedules, we go a little earlier probably than most people here.
Halloween.
Oh, Halloween!
Halloween is
it's
something
true.
and not only that, but you're organizing stuff with the
I love
parents.
Halloween. We do it differently because obviously it's not the same than going house to house. We gather a bunch of people, we dress up, and we just eat lots of candy.
Cansalada. Probably I just don't get that sort of thick bacon. Peu de porc. Why?
Maybe eating these massive amounts of food for breakfast, like the beans and the eggs and the bacon and the fruit, and I think that's a little intense.
Yeah.
But other than that, they have a pretty nice culture in Quebec, honestly. So.
This is fun.
I don't know.
Go, 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 go.
Okay.
Oh.
To fly.
Flying. Yeah. I mean, we have families, in Canada, in Spain. We've been living in Las Vegas, so we travel quite a lot. So yeah, flying, whew, that could be so awesome. I mean, it could be so many stuff, but...
You're asking for the proudest moment of my life, so I need to decorate at least. Hey, the twins! I really believe that children are here to teach you stuff, and I grew so much as a human being raising our children, and that's why I'm so proud about that.
Yep. Nice answer. Wait a minute.
I mean, it's a tricky question. Who's the first to say I love you? Because we both know the answer. Okay, well, let's write and let's talk after. Okay.
Hey.
But here's the thing. You explain the story, and I write what I
I just
said.
don't remember quite the words exactly. He would say that he didn't love me to tell me that he loved me.
The reason why I said I don't love you instead of I love you, it's because I was from Montreal, she was from Manresa, and we were in Italy. So the odds
were bad. We didn't think that we could.
But look at that, here we are.
But I found a job in Canada and I've moved there, and yeah,
And then we had a wonderful life in Vegas here. You know, the thing I love that we live our dreams. She let me live my dream, I let her live her dream. And I think that's probably why
High five.
We had the 3 question right, I think.
Yep.
Speaking of international, this is one of the main features of the band we're about to meet, Virginia and the Wolves, a Barcelona-based party band made up of members from Germany, France, Ireland and Spain. And today we're happy to have with us Virginia V, Dara Laskin and Stefan Jais. Welcome all to the Weekly Mag.
Thank you.
Well, first question, how did you guys meet and how did you decide to create this band?
We met at a jam session in the Harlem Jazz Club.
In Barcelona?
In Barcelona,
Here in Barcelona?
Myself and the guitarist Brian O'Mahony and the drummer Xavi Tomas were playing with our other group called Mr. Shingles. And Virginia and Stefan just happened to come by. They just came up and played with us. And we thought they were, you know, pretty good and really cool. So we thought, do you want to get involved and set up a band, but this time with a girl singer? And they said, yeah. So that was it. We were off.
When was that?
So we met in autumn 2016, started working, recorded, and then our first gig was, I think, in March 2017. And since then, yeah, I was growing bigger.
Okay. You brought something, two things here today. Can you explain what they are?
Well, this one was the hat that I had on the first time that I was in the jam session in the Harlem Jazz Club with the guys. So actually, perhaps, I don't know if it was my voice or if it was actually here the hat that impressed them. But here it is still with me, and I think I was quite a lucky girl that night.
Brings you good memories.
Yes, exactly, that's the hat.
All right, and?
This is the Wolf.
Okay,
and,
hence the name of the band?
The name of the band, well, we wanted to be Virginia and the Wolves, as in one of these. But we went on the web just to check to see if there were any other bands in Spain that had that name. And we did find a band that was in the Ukraine, but they had a video on the web, so we didn't want to get confused with them. So we put Virginia and the Wolves, as in Virginia Woolf, the writer. And that's where it came from. And this I bought for my little girl when we formed the band, just as a hello cleaner. And just as a present for her, just because we had a new band and I thought she'd think it was funny, which she did.
It is.
The fact that you're from different countries adds more diversity to your music, you would say?
Absolutely. A little bit of confusion during rehearsals as well, because we speak 3 languages when we work together.
So French, I guess,
there's
English?
French, there's Catalan, there's 4 languages actually. There's French, Catalan, Spanish, and English, of course.
What's up with the German?
German.
I like to call him like in a German way, Stefan.
You are the only German speaker of a band.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of diversity, actually we come from different countries, but we have the same musical backgrounds and culture, which is directed towards soul music and Black American music, so that's where we actually meet.
Okay. Would you say that making music here in Barcelona is easier than in France, in this case, or in your own countries? Is it easier or more difficult?
Well, I've lived here since 1994, so I couldn't really say. I can't really compare it because it's so long since I lived in Ireland that I think it was easier over here. That's why I stayed, really, at the end of the day. Than at that time in Dublin, it was pretty tough. So there's lots of people come from different countries, a lot of tourism here, and that means there's maybe a little bit more concerts and it makes it a bit easier for that reason.
Compared to Paris, I'd say it's quite different. You have bigger and better venues here. The pay is a little less than in Paris, and the public is a little more enthusiastic here because they're here to have a good time. Most of them are on vacation.
Mm-hmm. Right. You do basically soul music. Your repertoire comprises actually classic blues and soul songs from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and more contemporary ones like Amy Winehouse, for example, or Duffy. So do you plan to stick to soul music? Would you like to change your style in the future?
Well, to be honest, we do soul music, but we also do blues, and blues is very big in Barcelona, and we like it a lot. And we do a little bit of funk. Actually, we're a bit versatile, and we see what sticks good with the audience that we have in front of us. So, myself, I like to have some funky rhythms with me. So, soul and funk is what I would stick to.
You mentioned before that you are in phase 2. What does that mean?
Virginia said that. I think phase 2 is, phase 1 was getting the band together, finding a sound and getting a repertoire, and that was phase 1. And now phase 2 is working on original material, still within the same genre, or the same genres that we play in, but working, we sent Stefan and Virginia off into a room for the last couple of months, and they've come out with some really great songs. And now we're going to work together with them as a band and maybe try and bring out an EP next year.
That sounds good.
That's phase 2. Phase 3 is world domination. There you go.
Imagine me, I'm looking forward to that.
All right, and today what are you going to perform for us?
Today we're going to play a classic by Otis Redding. It's called The Duck of the Bay.
Okay, thank you Stefan, Virginia and Dara for coming to the Weekly Mag. And we're going to listen to Virginia and the Wolves in a moment. While they prepare on stage, pay attention to the following language tip. How do we read and write numbers in English? There are some differences with Catalan that even advanced learners get confused about, but not if you watch the following language tip with Helen Armstrong and Tim Wari from International House Barcelona.
So, numbers in English are really easy. They're exactly the same as Spanish and Catalan. So, for example, Helen, can you read this number?
No, because the dot and the comma are the other way around in English.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, in English, we use a dot to mark the decimal, but we do use a comma every 3 zeros.
Yeah.
So, I think it's better now. Can you try that one?
Yeah, now it's 3,457.12.
There you go, easy.
But also in digital numbers, we say every single digit. So 3.14159 pi number, we have to say every single number.
Yeah, I suppose that is a little bit different too. What about percentages though? They're basically the same, right?
Kind of, but when the number is below 1, we drop the 0 sometimes. So for example, this is 0.75%.
Okay, yeah, another small difference, I'll say. What about money, though? Money is exactly the same, no problems at all, right?
Not exactly. So we say it the same, but when we write it, the money sign goes before the number.
You're right, that is different. So, well, apart from the decimal point, the money signs, the percentages, it's all the same, right?
Pretty much, but another difference is when we have something like 1,300, in America they might say it in hundreds instead, so they might say 1,300.
That's true, yeah, they're a bit weird over there.
Also with years. Now sometimes years can change. For example, sometimes you say 1945, but for example this is 1704.
True. Also, when we're talking about big numbers like that, we tend to use some abbreviations. So we use K to mean 1,000. So if you say, for example, 1,000K. We also use M to talk about millions, okay? And B to talk about billions. So we could say, for example, did you know there were 19.1 million foreign tourists in Barcelona last year?
I did not.
Or Donald Trump claims that he is worth $5 billion.
Okay, now a little difference as well is in English, 1 billion is 1,000 million. And 1 trillion is 1,000 billion. That's a lot of zeros.
Yeah, too many, I'd say.
And talking of zeros, when we say a phone number, we usually say the 0 is an O.
Yeah, I do. And also, James Bond, what's his name?
007.
Exactly, not 00 or 007, 007.
And while we're on sevens, usually English and Americans, we just write the 7 without the horizontal line.
It's true. So, there's only a few small differences between the way we express numbers. Actually, maybe there's quite a few.
There's quite a few, Tim.
Oh well, there we go.
Thanks.
Left my home in Georgia, headed for the Frisco Bay, yeah. 'Cause I got nothing to live for. Look like nothing gonna come my way, yeah. Sitting on the dock on the bay, watching the tide roll away. Sitting on the dock on the bay, wasting time. Looks like nothing's gonna change. Everything still remains the same. I can do what some people tell me to do, so I guess I'm just gonna stay the same. Ooh, sitting here, resting my bones, 'cause the loneliness won't leave me alone. Yeah, it's 2,000 miles I rode just to make this dock my home. Yeah, sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time.
If you're nuts about space, you'll love today's Guess What quiz. If you are not, you'll end up being nuts about it anyway, just like our naughty quizmaster, Sergi Cervera.
Welcome back. In a moment, we'll test your knowledge and have some fun with our Guess What quiz. But before that, let me recommend you something. If you like to read more books in English, why don't you take a walk to your nearest library? Here we have for you some suggestions from the Xarxa de Biblioteques Municipals of the Diputació de Barcelona.
Matilda is a novel, a children's novel written by Roald Dahl, but it can be read and enjoyed by an adult. Matilda is a main character who's adorable, intelligent, talented, and when she goes to school, she meets Mrs. Honey, who starts to love her. Matilda is not loved by her parents, not understood by them, but she will find another family in Mrs. Honey. You can read Matilda through children's eyes and have fun with it, and you can also read through adults' eyes, and you will find a critical view on the adulthood.
July's People is a South African classic, but it wasn't always the case. July's People was prohibited during the era of apartheid and many years afterwards. This is the case because it revolves around one question, and the question is, the world is divided into the servants and the masters. I think that because of where we live, we have many privileges, but what would happen if one day the subaltern rebelled? Do you think we would deserve to be treated correctly? It's a difficult question, isn't it? Read July's People and tell me all about it afterwards.
And now, as promised, it's time for Guess What? And let's welcome our favorite quizmaster who claims that his only goal is to make us more cultured with a bit of fun. Not sure if he means us having fun or him laughing at us. I'm talking, of course, about Sergi Cervera. Welcome.
Hi, Marcella. Thank you. Never laughing at you. Absolutely
You wouldn't
not.
dare.
I wouldn't dare. I wouldn't.
Of course not.
Hi, everyone. My goal, of course, is that we all laugh no matter what. Today is a special day because we have a quiz about the final frontier, and that is, yes, space. Planets, stars, comets, asteroids, galaxies, black holes, dark matter, and more empty parking space than any Barcelona driver could dream of.
Well, we can only hope we end up learning something today, at least. Let's introduce today's contestants. Today, as our guest, we have with us the British journalist Barney Griffiths. Barney, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on the show.
So tell us, Barney, where are you from and how long have you been living in Catalonia?
I am originally from Manchester, although you can't really tell from the accent. I've moved around quite a lot. And I've lived in Catalonia for 24 years.
Wow.
Yes, wow.
A long time.
Most of the time Barcelona, but 10 years in Girona as well.
Excellent. So do you think you're ready to compete today against these two tough Catalan women?
I really doubt that. But I don't have any expectations, so it's fine.
Let's give it a try. Okay, so our well-known collaborators Patricia Scalona and Ana Priscila Magriña will be today's other contestants. Hello, girls. Hello.
Hello.
Priscila. Hello, Patricia. Please try to make Barney comfortable today.
No way.
We'll try.
Not gonna happen.
All right, let's break the space ice with the hammer of our multiple choice round. Remember, we ask people in the street questions related to our topic, such as this one.
If I could make a wish on a shooting star, my gosh. Wow.
Well, what do you think he would wish upon a shooting star? The options are these three. A, peace on earth and love for everyone. B, to be able to do magic. And C, a Hawaiian pizza with extra cheese. I'm not a pineapple in pizza supporter.
No,
I have to
me
say.
neither. No.
Thank you.
I am,
Thank you. That's very dangerous for me to know before the quiz is actually starting.
You already hate me, so
Yeah, that's true.
what have I got to
That's
lose, really?
actually,
so
yeah.
Fine.
Okay, don't fight. So, what's your pick?
I would
A,
say
B,
the
or
C. C. Yeah, I don't like pineapple in pizza. I don't know. I'm sorry
Thank
for
you. Just an extra point for that. No, I'm
But I
joking.
would say C.
I think A is the obvious answer that everybody always says, so I'm going for A.
Okay, so you're going to support A, and Patricia?
B, because he doesn't look like a pageant contestant, really. So peace on earth and stuff like that.
All right, let's hear the answer.
To be able to do magic, I think. Well, if you can do magic, you can make a lot of things happen rather than just one wish.
Of course, with magic, you can do anything, and Patricia really knows that, right? Yeah, all right. So there goes a smart man who believes in magic. Congratulations, Patricia.
Thank you.
Okay, so if you saw a shooting star, what would you wish for?
Pineapple in pizza, for sure no. I don't know.
I like that answer.
Health, good health.
Good health.
Lasting, good health.
Patricia?
Being able to win
important.
any of the questions that you're gonna ask me today, maybe, so I don't feel like a stupid person around intelligent
We
people.
can do that for you.
Yay, thank
we don't
you.
have magic, but we can do that for you. We're gonna help you out.
Thank you.
All right.
I would wish that I could drink a lot and not have a hangover.
Okay.
That's a good
That's
one.
kind of magic.
That's a good one.
So
Okay.
here's the second of our witnesses. What would you do if an asteroid was going to smash the Earth tomorrow? Let's see.
The last thing I think what I would do, I'd be planning my last meal, and we'll have some fish, we'll have some steak, and we go down.
She would like to have dinner with friends, eat and drink, but where? Here are the options. Option A, she would throw the party at home. B, they would all go on a boat. And C, they would have their meal in an underground bunker, you know, just in case.
So,
boat.
Boat.
Yeah.
Option B.
I think, I thought she was talking about at home, so I'll go at home.
Okay, good one.
okay, so can I say? Yeah, okay,
Yes,
then
you can.
I'm going with boat as well.
You're going with boat.
She's always right. So.
Looks like it, yeah. Can I
That's a
go with
good
boat as well?
That's actually a
No,
good
I'll say-
strategy, like having the same pick than Patricia, right?
Okay, we'll see.
Let's see.
And be on a boat. Why? That's the best thing to do. Eat, be with friends, be merry, and be on the water. What more could you ask for?
Thank
We
you,
see-
Patricia.
We see, of course.
I'm starting to get the idea of how this quiz works.
Exactly. You
Follow
are just
Patricia.
going, exactly, follow Patricia.
She wins, right?
That's
No,
correct.
no,
Congratulations, Patricia, and everyone else following her.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
we've got 2 points for Patricia. For
Zero
the
for
moment,
Barney.
no points for Barney yet, and 1
I'm
point
so
for Anna
sorry.
Priscilla.
Yeah.
All
No
right.
worries, that
Terrible
can
for
change.
my image.
Then let's move to the last multiple choice question. We have asked these men, who would you send in a mission to Mars? Let's see the question.
The person I would send on it would be Lionel Messi.
Okay, why do you think this man would send Lionel Messi to Mars, not to Mars? I'm sorry, I had to do it. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
It
Now
was-
I got it.
Who writes your jokes?
This one, for sure, it's not our
Okay,
screenwriter.
okay.
All right, so why do you think this man would send Lionel Messi to Mars? Option A, he thinks Messi deserves to be the Earth's ambassador. Option B, he would like to see what he's capable of doing in low gravity. And option C, that man is a Manchester United supporter, not you, I assume, and wants Messi as far away as possible.
I thought he was a Real Madrid supporter and he wanted Messi as far. That's what I was thinking. He's a Madrid fan.
Good one.
But he obviously not. So I'll go for C.
So you are
Because
going.
that's what I was thinking.
All right. So you, as not as a Manchester United supporter,
No, I'm not a Manchester
it's not
United
your
supporter.
opinion.
No,
You're just
correct.
pointing what
He
this
doesn't
guy's
want.
opinion.
He doesn't want Messi to be around anymore because he wants his team to do better. That's what
Okay.
I'm understanding. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna say B. I have no idea. Who cares?
So you want to see what Messi is capable to do in low
Yeah,
gravity.
sure, yeah.
All right, Patricia.
What was the
What are we talking about?
You know about football, so now I'm
Who
going
are
to follow
you?
you now.
This has nothing, very little to do with football. This question, I think. But the first one
But
was.
you know the
no,
passion for
mine
people
was.
who play- who
mine
want,
was
like-
because he supports another team.
That's it, for the champions or whatever, no?
Presumably. Well, so Manchester United aren't in the Champions League. I have to say that. Sorry.
Come on,
Sorry to
Patricia,
you,
you're
Manchester
disappointing me.
He's
What do you mean he's?
his
What-
answer, whatever, football. I
No,
don't
no,
care
go for
about
A,
that.
Go for A. Go for A. It's
So,
probably A.
yeah, show more confidence. You are
C.
after option C. All right. So let's hear the answer.
Because all my life I have been a fan of Manchester United and Georgie Best, and Lionel Messi has given us a dreadful, dreadful time. So I think I would send him off to Mars.
Of course, Patricia and Barney got the right answer.
Finally.
Congratulations.
How's the score?
Yeah.
So Patricia is in the lead with 3 points. And Barney, both Barney and Anna Priscilla have 1 point.
Okay, not that
For the
bad.
moment.
Priscilla.
So Barney, tell us, you said you're not a Manchester United supporter.
No, I'm not. Though my father
How
is.
come?
Exactly.
My
You're
brother
from
is.
Manchester.
I'm from Manchester. Well, I was born in Manchester and then we moved. But my father was born in Manchester, which is why he's a Manchester United fan. Me and my brother were both born in Manchester, but I was only there for a few months before we moved around the country quite a lot. And we ended up in the south of England and then back in Manchester again. So we moved quite a lot. And while we were moving around, I basically became a Chelsea fan. So my stepbrother is was a Chelsea fan, and he influenced me a lot. I think that's probably the main
So
reason.
you wouldn't send Leo Messi to Mars?
No, not at all.
He's
I like
okay.
watching Leo
He's
Messi.
okay in Barcelona.
No, I love watching Leo Messi.
Great.
If you like football, you like watching Messi.
Great, point to you, not just kidding.
That's what I was going for. The point. Excellent point.
All right.
All right, so the score is 3-1-1.
That's right.
And now it's time for bells and whistles, actually bell and horn and hammer, because our contestants now will face the speed challenge.
And Barney, since you're our guest today, you'll have the honor of the bell.
So that
You have the honor of the dignified one, actually.
That's kind of an honor.
Well, that's
I can see that, yes.
Yeah, that's kind
Thank
of an
you.
honor, and
Yeah.
that leaves Patricia and Anna Priscilla with the horn and the hammer.
Yeah.
So you can try them to warm up, because...
Come on, people.
Come on, Patricia. There you
Seriously.
go. Because every right answer now is worth 2 points.
That's right.
Okay.
And as I said, speed challenge, which means speeding, guys.
Oh gosh.
All right, we want you to guess space and alien movies. We will give you a line of dialogue and you answer by ringing your bell, hitting your hammer, or honking your horn. If you get it wrong, the other 2 contestants still have their chance to answer again. And again, this is very important. You don't have to wait for the end of the line if you already know the answer.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm
I feel
nervous.
your excitement
Okay,
right
yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Okay, the first one. Houston, we got a problem.
Patricia, you have to move faster. Patricia?
Apollo 13.
That's
That's
correct,
right.
Apollo 13.
That's probably the only one I knew. Come on,
Sorry.
people.
I mean, you still have a lot
Okay,
of options.
okay,
Let's see.
okay.
Let's see the second one. Ready? Hello, Hal. Barney?
Did you say Hal?
Hal. I said.
2001: A Space Odyssey.
That's
Great.
correct.
Well done.
Exactly.
This is Ripley, last survivor of the Nostromo, signing off.
Barney?
Alien.
Yes, Alien. Ripley, Sigourney Weaver. Absolutely. When gone am I, the last of the Jedi? Barney?
Star Wars.
Which one? Would you
Last
be
of
able?
the Jedi.
That's correct. Point to you. Well done.
You're not in Kansas anymore. You're on Pandora,
Oh, yeah,
ladies and gentlemen.
No, I have no idea.
Damn it.
You're on Pandora.
You're
Four.
on Pandora.
3, 2,
Come on, that's easy.
1. Barney?
I'm going to have a wild guess. Interstellar.
No. Any of you have? No, then
Blue
it's...
faces.
What?
Yeah, blue faces.
Well, okay.
Time's up, guys.
Okay.
It was Avatar. Point goes to no
Oh,
one. Avatar.
Never actually seen that film.
I
Next.
saw that recently.
Yeah, next.
Guys, I don't like sci-fi. Why do you have this question?
Be careful because I was already reading the next one and you have to be ready to hit your hammer.
Okay.
So here we go. Home, phone, E.T., phone, home. That was Barney.
E.T.
That's correct, E.T.
Okay, the following one. Clear skies with a chance of satellite debris.
Barney?
Is that one about spaghetti and meatballs?
Spaghetti and meatballs.
No, there was a
Starring,
cartoon. There's a cartoon
Sandra.
film. No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't
Yeah?
that one. You see?
Starring Sandra.
Sandra Bullock.
Patricia?
Gravity?
That's correct, but you showed more confidence than that.
Gravity.
What was that?
That's right.
It didn't work.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Eva? Eva? I can keep doing
Yeah,
this
you can keep doing that
forever.
forever,
So,
but it's not-
Eva?
it's not gonna give us a clue.
But what are you doing?
I'm doing the next. Actually, this is the next
Is
question.
that the name?
I was expecting some of you, like ringing the bell.
Eva.
Eva?
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 Gloria, I don't know.
Stop doing it. Patricia?
Eva. There's a film called Eva.
Not correct.
That's not correct. Whatever.
Any of you know the answer?
No.
No? Time's up. Wall-E. Oh. My performance wasn't that bad, actually.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
No, that was okay.
All right, we'll
Let's
see.
continue, okay? Here's the plan. Get your ass to Mars.
The Martian?
No, that's incorrect. They are already in Mars in the movie, Barney.
I'm going to have a guess.
Go for it.
Interstellar.
That's not correct. But you did. You announced it and you have your
One time
guess.
it might be right, you know.
No idea, guys.
Total
Something.
time's up.
Okay.
Total recall.
That's
Yep, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
That was really bad.
Well, here we go. Next one.
I don't know.
We are Groot. Patricia?
Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's correct. Point to Patricia.
11. This is what we are going to do. We are going to fly to that asteroid with a nuclear device implanted and get on.
Yeah, that's correct. Point to you.
Wow.
Thank God.
Well done.
That was very impressive.
Well done, exactly. Well, she really
You just steal the one I knew.
she hit the hammer.
Okay,
Correct.
I can rest.
Okay, 12.
All right, here we go. Next, live long and prosper. Barney?
It's Star Trek, isn't it?
Yes.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You should know that
absolutely.
13. If it is just us, seems like an awful waste of space.
Barney?
I'm going to have a guess.
Go for it.
Interstellar.
Have I clicked that?
Oh, it's the
Before.
one with Chris Pratt and no,
That's Guardians of the Galaxy.
no, the
Go
other
for
one.
it. I can give you a quick clue. Carl
yeah.
Sagan.
Carl Sagan.
Carl Sagan.
Yeah, that really helps me. I don't
5,
know.
4, 3, 2, 1. Time's up. Contact.
Called
Judy Foster
Wow.
is on the lead.
Not
Vaguely remember
Interstellar.
something.
Okay.
Full contact.
That was a good
Yeah.
one.
We
Carl
needed to
Sagan.
include,
Maybe we should
we
have
needed to
researched this.
include a question about Interstellar.
That's absolutely. Then he's gonna have
That'll
a
be
guess
good.
and is gonna say another one.
And the score is 9 points for Patricia, 11 points for Barney,
Yeah.
and 3 points for Anna Priscilla.
Oh my
But
gosh,
the
people.
game is not over.
All right, yeah, absolutely.
So, do you like space films like Gravity, or you prefer maybe alien-based movies like Star Wars?
I think you can guess what
Yeah, exactly.
films I like.
Okay,
Don't
so
say
your
Interstellar.
favorite
No, in all
one.
seriousness.
Your favorite one is
Well,
Interstellar.
I love Christopher Nolan. I think he's a great director, and I think that film, even though I didn't really understand it, made me think. And I love films that make okay.
So you really
We're not
wanted to
taking you
talk?
seriously.
You really wanted to talk about Interstellar today?
Not really. I mean, you asked me my favourite film. That's it. Rather than alien films, I prefer.
I love
that's a
the
proper
alien
science
ones.
Yeah.
You
all
prefer
right.
alien
You
films?
said?
Yeah, the alien ones I did like.
Oh, this.
But Star Wars, Star Trek,
No,
no,
I
I love
don't
those
like
ones.
that much.
I
Me
love
too.
all the superhero.
Me too. Well, we agree in something at least.
Yeah.
We have a last round of questions, and now right answers will be worth 3 points.
But before that, let's continue with fun in the form of humor. Time for a bit of stand-up comedy.
So I host couch surfers in my flat, and my flat's really tiny. You have to understand. I don't understand meters, but my flat is like 2, right? So I host all these couch surfers, and they usually say the place is disgusting. It actually reveals a racism because they say it's terrible, like a hostel or a hotel from a country they don't like. I learned this first with Frenchmen. I had 10 Frenchmen stay in my flat. They walk in, they say, "Oh, mon Dieu, putain, merde, this is disgusting." They throw their baguettes down. They say, "This is like a Belgian hostel." I get excited, right? I'm from the United States. I thought we invented racism. Turns out we're just the best at it. Want to find out who the Belgians hate, right? So I invite 11 Belgians to come and stay with me. They walk in, they sound exactly like the French. They say, "Putain, merde, this is disgusting, no!" Chocolates just go flying in there. They say, "This is like a German hostel." I was like, oh my gosh, amazing. Who do the Germans hate? Everyone. Let's find out. I invite 12 Germans to come and stay with me. 12 Germans, they come in, they sound exactly like the French. They walk in, they say, "Putain, merde, this is disgusting, no!" I can do one accent alone. And for 35 years, I thought that was a Spanish accent. Anyway, the Germans, they say, "This is disgusting. No, this is like a Canadian hostel." I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't think anyone could hate the Canadians. Let's find out who the Canadians hate. I packed 13 maple syrup drinking Canadians into my flat, just jam them in there. They walk around, they look, they say, "This is amazing." But
So here we are again, ready to witness the last round of Guess What?
Marcella will ask a few questions about space science. Now, right answers are 3 points. Same rules as the last challenge. Just ring, honk, or heat to answer. If it's wrong, the other two can use their instrument to have a go.
Okay.
If they know the answer.
Ready for the
If
first
they know
one?
the answer.
All right, here goes the first one. What of the following names is actually a type of star? A purple giant, a brown pixie, a white dwarf, or a green elf?
Patricia, that
White
was
dwarf.
That's correct. Yeah,
Correct, Patricia.
absolutely. White dwarfs are very dense stars, so you can see them with a telescope. To see purple giants, brown pixies, and green elves, well, you need something else.
All right, the second one goes like this. How many tails do comets have?
Barney?
2.
2.
That is correct, absolutely. One is made of gas and points directly away from the sun. The other is made of dust and is left behind the comet's orbit.
I could have told you that, yeah.
Or interstellar.
Or interstellar, whichever.
All right, the next one. What do the initials SETI stand for?
No idea.
SETI.
No? Not a chance?
No.
You want to try?
So?
Space.
Okay.
Time. There's the S and the T.
That's actually...
Index.
Nice try.
Nice try.
Nice try.
At least
But-
he tried, but they are the initials for search for extraterrestrial intelligence.
Oh.
Unfortunately, there are no acronyms for
Terrestrial
intelligence on Earth, I was going to say.
Next one. A curious fact. What happens if you join two solid pieces of the same metal in space?
What was that?
I'm gonna try.
I have no idea.
It's funny.
It's funny. I mean, was she honking the horn?
So what happens if you join two solid pieces of metal in space?
Go for it.
They melt.
They melt. That
Yes,
is kind of correct. Yeah, we can give you a
give her
point.
the point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Thank you. I have no idea what happened.
They
for real.
fuse together.
Okay. Fuse together.
In the vacuum, same metals tend to weld.
Okay.
And we're gonna give you a right
half a
answer.
point?
Yeah, half a point. No, let's give you the full
together.
point.
No, they fuse together, they melt.
Mhm, yeah. But we
She deserves the full point.
She deserves the full point.
Thank you.
Okay.
Gracious of you.
And we continue with number 4, which is on the first manned mission to step on the moon, who of the 3 astronauts didn't get to walk on the moon?
Come on, the one I don't remember the name.
Armstrong, Collins, or Aldrin?
Collins.
Damn it.
Technically, he rang the bell on the right time, but you showed that you knew the answer.
Yeah.
So that's
Mom,
giving.
I'm not completely stupid,
That helps,
Mom.
doesn't it?
Thank you.
That is absolutely, exactly, that's correct. So Collins didn't even land on the moon. He was orbiting the satellite in the commandment module. So in other words, they make him watch for the car.
Okay,
Yes.
ready to continue?
Yeah.
Yeah? So, curious fact about the moon. It's not orbiting at same distance from the Earth every year. Why is that? What's happening?
I don't know.
Point to
That's
Anna
not the
Priscilla.
answer.
She don't know. Patricia?
Has to do with gravity, perhaps? Gravity pulls.
Gravity is involved.
Yes, can you be
but
more
give-
specific?
Exactly.
It pulls the moon away from the Earth.
Correct. Point to Patricia. It's
get 10 points for that.
It's interesting because she's showing kind of a lack of confidence, but still, so she's beating everyone. You know?
She's so
Okay, so what's happening?
What is happening is actually slowly moving away from the Earth at a rate of 3.8 centimeters every year. So it's like that the moon is seeing what's coming to us.
Okay, so things are starting to get interesting here because we've got, there's just 1 point, difference between Patricia and Barney, right? 18 and 17 points. So pay attention to the next question.
You
right?
too, Anna Priscilla.
Yes, indeed.
I don't know if it's worth it.
Right.
Don't give up yet.
Can I have your attention, please? Now pay attention to this picture on the screen. What does it show?
Patricia, I'm gonna say your name in the same way you are honking the horn, you know? If you don't do it with confidence, I'm gonna say Patricia.
There's a paper in here, you know that, right?
Yeah, I put
That's
it.
why it's not
I put
working.
it on it. Yeah. So go for it. What is that?
The sun?
That is not correct, Barney.
Whatever. Oh.
I'm going to say something scientific and spacey.
Go for
It's
it.
a black hole, isn't it?
That's correct. Point to Barney.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. This is not the Lord of the Ring poster. Is not Sauron. This is the first picture ever taken of a black hole. It was taken on 2019.
Not the first one, surely.
Yeah, and luckily it's 55 million light years away, which is kind of a relief.
Well, that was a guess, I'll be honest.
All right, next one. What is a gravitational slingshot? A crazy asteroid, a way to jump to hyperspace, or using planets to save fuel?
Barney?
It's a way to jump to hyperspace.
That is not correct. But
A, whichever was.
so you said a crazy asteroid?
Yeah.
That's not correct.
Oh, no.
And there is only one option, but no one has said it.
Well,
so
I can say it now.
you haven't honked the horn, and right now
Read it, Martela.
go for it, but I'm not giving any point to you. But I love the face that she put when you were reading the question. She was doing something like on something like that, ready to honk the horn.
So what was the answer?
What it was using gravity and orbit of planets for a spacecraft to accelerate, decelerate, or change direction.
Come on, that was so easy.
That makes more sense. That makes more sense.
Have you seen Apollo 13? That's what they do.
Interstellar as well, I think.
Oh, yes, well, more than likely.
All right, let's go on. This one is very interesting. I like it very much.
And it's not Interstellar.
Exactly. Astronauts attach a small patch of Velcro on the inside of their helmet. So, do you know what is it for?
It's always useful, I don't know.
What for?
We don't have
hit the hammer,
options?
if you No, you don't have options here. It's pretty obvious.
Is it?
Barney?
Is it something to do with their hair?
With the hair?
With their hair.
I actually not sure about that. I don't think.
Try again.
But who really knows? It depends on the length
Where
of
do
the
they
hair.
put the belt? Where do they put it?
In the
Inside.
Okay. They attach a small patch of Velcro on the inside of their helmet.
But we don't know which part, inside, at the back, at the front.
It can be a lot of places. We're gonna talk to NASA.
To hold the helmet.
Huh?
To hold the helmet.
Well,
you know.
That is not correct, but I love you try.
Damn it.
Patricia?
to avoid, I don't know.
All right.
Something really simple.
Time's up. Exactly. Very simple. To scratch their noses. Absolutely. When they're itchy. It's only natural. These spacesuits cost $12 million each, so they need to save money at some place.
Okay, so I told you it was an interesting question.
It was indeed.
Very simple.
Yeah. They can't open the.
All right, so Patricia is no longer in the lead because Barney is with 20 points ahead.
Yeah, 20 points.
20 points. Patricia is after with 18, and Anna Priscilla have a few points less.
But the game is not finished yet.
And
All
Anna
right,
Priscilla.
exactly.
Let's stop it
The
there.
tables can be turned with the last question, which is worth 5 points. That is, if you get it correctly, because if you get it wrong, 5 points will be taken from you. Other than that, same rules. You guys ready?
You can't take them from me because
That's correct. You're going to own us some points by the end of today's
have
quiz.
a minus.
Exactly. All right, so
Okay.
look at the following picture. This is Saturn, or Beyonce's favorite planet. If you like, you shouldn't put a ring on it, you know?
Oh.
Yes.
Ta-da.
But what planet is the arrow pointing at?
What?
How do you pretend I know that?
There is an arrow
Yeah.
pointing at
Another
a
planet.
planet. Go for it.
The Earth.
That's correct.
Oh,
Point to
God.
Patricia.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Impressive.
Yeah.
And that's how I win. Like having
This
no
blue
clue
dot.
whatsoever.
Well,
Exactly.
congratulations.
Right.
Patricia.
Congratulations.
Drop
This
the
blue
mic.
dot
Yes.
Really
is
understand the question.
actually
Can I drop
the
the
Earth.
horn?
Yeah, drop the
This, indeed, this exceptional photo was taken in 2013, not with the long selfie stick, but by a space probe on the day called the day the Earth smiled. And here is the larger picture. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Exactly. Well, congratulations, Patricia.
Thank you.
Well, and Barney, well, I think for the first time you did very, very well with 20 points, just 3 points away from Patricia, who always wins, so not bad.
She deserved to win. I mean, that
We had
thing
a
about
lot
the
of-
moon and gravity was beyond.
We had a lot of expectations
Anyway,
with you.
anyway, congratulations and thank you for coming today and play with us. And Anna Priscilla, thank you as well.
You have been the moral winner.
You're not gonna say
Yeah,
you
but
did
she's
really
fun.
well for your
You
first
did?
It's
time.
always fun, so yeah.
Absolutely.
She's great. Anyway, okay, thank you everybody. Until next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And this is the end of today's show. I hope you have enjoyed it as much as we have. Remember, you can catch up with every section online and you can follow us on the social networks as always, where you can also post the solution to this week's Guess Word puzzle by Màrius Serra, which is firm belief in someone's guiltiness, 10 letters. We'll be back next Saturday. Until then, stay tuned, practice your English, and have a great week. Bye-bye.